Let me share with you the next speaker. Let me invite Dr. Suniel Deshpande. Dr. Suniel Deshpande is an academician, strategy and marketing professional, chairperson, Center of Excellence in Healthcare, a speaker, writer, mentor with almost 3 decades of professional experience. He is associated with SIES College of Management Studies. Let me add something more here. He is a visiting faculty at Stratford University MBA program and KG Somaiya Institute of Management Studies and Research, MBA in Healthcare Management. Very relevant to the event that we are hosting, he has successfully launched and established and managed leading multi-crore pharmaceutical brands like Glucobay, Electrol, and Flunaran. With such a huge experience, he has been associated with multinational companies like Medley, FTC, Bayer, and more. And he has worked from the levels of medical rep till the level of general manager. So I welcome here Dr. Suniel Deshpande to share with us your thoughts, sir. We are looking forward to listening to you.
Thank you. Am I audible? Just
yes, doctor.
Nowadays. Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, a very warm good morning to all the dignitaries, all the speakers, all the dignitaries amongst the target audience, Professor Vivek, Dr. Swati, and all the team members, Dr. Satish of Pharma State Academy, and wish you all a very, very healthy and happy 2021. My acknowledgement and a feeling of gratitude to Pharma State Academy as well as Professor Vivek Hattangadi for this invitation, which actually is a privilege, as well as so many dignitaries, academicians from the healthcare as well as pharmaceutical sector. As Professor Vivek said, I have actually an emotional connect with the World Pharma Brand Managers Day for being associated in conceptualizing as well as organizing the previous versions of this particular program. This year, I am rather occupied with some academic engagements, and as a result of which, perhaps it was not possible for me. But thank you once again for this invitation. And when actually Professor Vivek as well as Dr. Swati sent this invitation, and I was really wondering that what would be the best kind of interaction that we can have at this forum. So I don't have a presentation to present, and what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to talk about my learnings over this 3 decades of professional experience in the industry as well as academia in terms of working in marketing, sales, strategy, academia, etc., etc. So before I start, actually, my compliments to all the previous speakers for their wonderful presentations with so much of knowledge as well as learning, which will be definitely of value to all the target audience, the students, those who are present, and those who are the future CEOs, as well as the presidents, vice presidents in this healthcare and pharmaceutical sector. So I have a list, a long list rather, and that is what I said. I'm actually going to talk about the learnings. So what are basically the expectations from the pharmaceutical industry from the students? And of course, as I said, they are students right now, but they are managers for tomorrow. They are vice presidents for tomorrow. They are the CEOs for tomorrow. They are the presidents and chairmen and board of directors and etc. etc. So now if you look at skills, then there are various ways in which skills have been uh, explained. Okay, and what is a skill? Let me ask you. Let me ask this question: what is a skill? So when I ask this question to myself, and I refer to one of the best dictionaries in the world, which you will all agree, a skill is nothing but an expertise, okay, in a particular subject matter. So what are the expertise? What is the expertise? What is that expertise? What is required in the pharmaceutical, in the healthcare sector today as well as tomorrow? Now, if you look at skills, they have been classified into various ways. Something called as soft skills, something called as hard skills, something called as essential skills, and various other ways like functional skills, transferable skills, and etc. etc. So, what is number one? The hard skills, just as a prelude to what I'm going to talk about. Basically, the hard skills are nothing but the skills which are your knowledge based skills, your technical skills, and what one of the earlier speakers said, your knowledge platform. So your graduation level or your post graduation level is nothing but one of the passports for you to move ahead into the work sphere, into the professional sphere of the industry. Then what are soft skills? Basically, soft skills are something which you acquire in your workplace. And I personally believe that it is very difficult for anybody to teach any of the soft skills. Basically, soft skills are something like, say, for example, interpersonal skills, or conflict management skills, or boss management skills, or communication skills. So various kinds of skills like these are the soft skills, and they are skills which actually are dependent on two factors. One is your individual, yourself, that how much of the skills you are able to adapt, and number two is also the surrounding areas which actually makes these skills uh, possible for you to adopt. So that is, for example, where are you working? So the third one is the essential skills. So essential skills is a combination of soft skills as well as hard skills, and which is essential for a particular function, for a particular role, for a particular responsibility. So for example, if you're working in marketing, then there are certain essential skills which are very much required. If you're working in sales, there are certain essential skills which are required. If you're working in pharma industry, there are certain skills which are specific for the pharma. When you move into the FMCG, there are certain specific skills for the FMCG, and likewise. So with this kind of an introduction, I was sitting down and I was just thinking that what are the learnings from my experience, which I would like to share with you today in terms of the topic, which I think are very much essential, which very much valid for the days and for the years to come, and for you to make an impact into this particular sector. The first thing, especially from a student's perspective, I would like to put it as a professional personality. And what do I mean by a professional personality? See, working in a organization is different from working in an institute. Okay, whether it is your physical dress sense, or whether it is any kind of communication. For example, communicating to a superior in your organization, communicating to your boss, or communication to a medical representative down the line, or to an first line area manager, or to a regional manager, or communicating to a somebody outside your organization as an important stakeholder is totally different. They are all different from each other. Okay, so you need to have a personality which is a professional personality. Your dress sense, for example, what are the color shades that what you use? Okay, for example, you are attending a meeting, you are attending a cycle meeting. Okay, you are attending a sales performance meeting. You know, in a, for example, in a 4-star or a 5-star hotel, the way in which probably you are expected to present, the way in which you actually eat, I'm going to that level. Okay, everything makes a difference. Everybody is being observed. So that is something which I call it as a professional personality. Second thing is, what is very important today is deep and critical thinking. Okay, and rather than superficial thinking, you need to go to the depth of the issue. You need to go to the depth of a problem. A doctor says that, for example, I am not getting results with your brand. And I mean, that's a very, 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 very strong statement from a doctor who is your principal customer. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to approach? What level you are going to go and try to find out a problem? Is it a problem which is connected with the efficacy of the drug? Is it a problem which is connected with the dosage regimen which is actually recommended by the doctor? Is it a problem which is the dosage which is actually taken by the patient? Is it a problem which is affected with the availability of the drug at the retail store? For example, you take a therapeutic category like insulins, and insulins have to be kept in a refrigerated environment between 4 and 8 degrees centigrade specifically. So in India, in places like Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh, or you take North Delhi, UP, Punjab, Bihar, Central Maharashtra, you have a lot of problems with respect to electricity, and there are problems with respect to logistics. You take the current COVID vaccines currently. So the point is, you require deep and critical thinking to come to the root of the problem which is mentioned by the customer. It could be a customer, it could be a patient. This is just one example of critical thinking. The third one is, you are expected to be a quick learner and grasper of knowledge today. And I mean, today, the speed at which you are moving ahead with respect to knowledge is very fast, especially the last 5 years, thanks to the technology, and it's moving at great speeds than what it was when we were students. And we actually come from a background where there was no internet, and even there was no mobile. But today, thanks to all the technological industry, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, now we are into 5.0, the technology is making rapid strides ahead. So you need to have a very quick grasping on all the various aspects of the technology. I'll come later for what reason and what will be the application area of this. The fourth point, which I would like to emphasize as a very necessary skill area, is emotional intelligence. Okay, what is emotional intelligence? Basically, very simple, I'm putting it. Emotional intelligence is actually having a control on your emotions or on your reactions. Now, if you look at a marketing job into an organization, unfortunately, a product manager, or even for that matter, a whatever you call it, a group product manager or a marketing manager, etc., they have outlined responsibilities. Okay, but they have not outlined any authorities on the job. So how are you going to manage that? Okay. Or you take, for example, your interactions with the sales force. Okay. And if your product does good, obviously there are a lot of hands which can go up in saying that, yes, it is because of me. Okay. I'm not over here to go into the details. It is because of what reason. But the point is, if a product doesn't do well, then obviously there would be hundreds of reasons coming out. And then there could be various reactions which could sometimes be critical, or areas where, for example, your job gets delayed into the entire functions within an organization. So how are you going to all manage that? If you're going to react, and then probably you're going to get into difficulties. So emotional intelligence is very, very important. You need to have a very firm control on your emotions and your reactions, which is actually a very subjective matter. The next one is stay hungry, stay foolish. Okay. Stay hungry. You should have a thirst for knowledge. Okay. I mean, stay foolish. I exactly literally don't mean stay foolish, but ask questions. Okay. Always, no, start with a why. Simon Sinek, the well-known author, has got so many books and so many articles on this area. You need to have that why. Okay. You need to have that why. Okay. Why is my product doing well? For example, even if it is doing well, why it is doing well? Is the sales coming from a particular geographical territory? Is it coming from a particular profile of a doctor? Is it coming from a particular specialty of a doctor? Is it coming from a particular indication? Is it coming because of the low price, or is it coming because of competitive inactivity? And there could be so many areas which need to be looked into. Okay, stay hungry for knowledge. Okay, always stay foolish in the sense, always ask this question, why? Okay. The next point, a very important point I feel, is the commercial acumen. Okay. A commercial acumen. Commercial acumen is relating all your activities, that what you do, with respect to the commercial results for the product, for the brand, for the SBU, and for your organization. Why? Because quite simply, any organization works only for two reasons. One is the top line, and the second one is the bottom line. Okay, whether you are in sales, whether you are in marketing, whether you are a product executive, whether you are a sales manager, whether you are a vice president, whether you are a SBU head, or whether you are a first line manager or a regional manager, whatever you are, there are only two objectives for the organization principally. And whatever you do, the SBU head or the vice president or the president is always going to relate it to only these two aspects, that is the top line as well as the bottom line. So for example, you are actually trying a beautiful campaign for your brand, but at the end of the day, your SBU head or your boss says that the financial viability of this campaign actually is questionable. Why? Because okay, I'm comfortable with respect to the budgets that what you have allocated, but I'm not comfortable with the bottom line. Okay, by the end of the campaign that you are going to actually try to achieve. So obviously, commercial acumen is something which you need to keep at the back of the mind and polish yourself towards that. Uh, the next point, the seventh point I have is think beyond. That is entrepreneurial thinking ability. Now, first thing which I would have said is, say, for example, when people ask me, sir, what is a product manager? I always say that a product manager, I mean, for that matter, a marketing or whatever you call it, any designation, should consider himself or herself as the managing director for that product or that brand. You are the managing director. That means you must know anything and everything about that product or that brand. And also the way in which this product or this brand needs to be managed. So that's why if you just focus on a particular aspect of the product or the brand, I think that's not sufficient. You need to think beyond. You need to think like it's my own company, it's my own brand. And if that's the case, then what am I going to do? Okay. So that entrepreneurial thinking ability will come to you only when you own responsibility for that product or that brand. And when you own responsibility, I am the boss, I am the managing director. Don't go by designations. I don't mean power over here, but what I mean is accountability. Okay, I mean responsibility for the ownership of this brand. This is my brand, and I'm going to manage it successfully. For that, I need to have a entrepreneurial thinking ability. I am the managing director for this brand. The next one, which a lot of speakers have emphasized, is communication skills. But over here, I'm going to segregate communication skills into principally three subcategories. The one is you must be very clear about your objective of communication. Okay. You must be very, very clear about your objective. I'm communicating for what reason? Okay, that objective must be very, very well spelled out in your communication, so that the person to whom you are communicating understands your communication in the manner in which you would like to communicate, so that you are actually very sure of the results of this communication. So don't have any kind of duality in communication. For example, I'll just give an example of positioning for a pharma brand. And many of the times, product managers or marketing professionals get confused that, sir, can I take a stance for my brand? What's wrong? If you take a stance, you justify that stance, but don't come into a situation. I will also position it with respect to this parameter. I will also consider this parameter. And at the end of the day, you actually create a confused positioning with respect to the end customer, because your purpose or objective of communication itself is a question mark. So the purpose of communication, number two, emotional content in the communication. Your communication has to be emotion. Consider what impact this communication is going to make upon my end person to whom this communication goes. Is he going to get angry? Is he going to get happy? Is he going to get satisfied? Or is he going to get a bad tap on his back? What is considered emotions? And of course, the last one is you must also be very, very clear with respect to communication which are intended for motivating okay, the end customer, which is very important. Or is it a communication which is intended for any kind of, okay. So this is the way in which I'm going to actually spell out communication. The next point is, have a very creative mind today. Okay, there are a lot of limitations, and as you move ahead, there will be limitations of budgets. Okay, there will be limitations of manpower. There will be limitations of lot of areas, lot of inputs, and the only way is to be creative. And that's very, very important for today, because creative mind actually leads to a very important aspect in marketing, which is differentiation. If you're not creative, obviously the differentiation is not going to. Dr. Swati, how much time do we have?
Sir, we have 5 minutes. Please go on.
Okay. I would just request you to kindly give me maybe some 2-3 minutes more, because I just want to complete this discussion. Of course, I'll try to be accommodative. Thank you. The next one is, empathy. Empathy is something which is very, very important. What is empathy? Empathy is basically going into the shoes of the maybe the person to whom you are communicating and thinking what he is going to think. So very important from a marketing perspective, very important from a sales perspective, very important from a top management perspective. Okay. The next one is result orientation. Okay. Whatever I'm going to do, okay, I need a result outcome of that. Okay. I just don't want to do a campaign, or I just don't want to meet, the end customers for the sake of meeting my number of calls in a day. Okay, my company has said you meet 12 doctors in a day, and that's what I need. I'm going and meeting 12 doctors, 13 doctors, 14 doctors. What at the end of the day, what are the results going to come from that 12 doctors or investment of time that what you have made? or for that matter, your campaign, that what you have planned for 2 months, what are the results? So every activity has to be directed towards result orientation. The next one is the ability to adopt technology. I think I have already commented upon that. And technology is making a big headway, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is Internet of Things, or whether it is virtual reality. But of course, don't adopt technology for the sake of adapting, even digital marketing for that matter. There is a Panchasutri of digital marketing, which I will share on a different platform. But you need to understand that where all this technology fits into my value chain. That's very, very important. Just don't adopt technology for somebody has said that technology is making a headway, so I'm adopting. But what value addition this technology is going to make in my value chain is the one reason which you need to consider. Another important thing which I really emphasize is originality in thinking. All whatever you do, maybe today you have a Google platform, and the first thing what we do is we go and ask Mr. Google, okay, cut and paste. With due respect, please adopt your own original thinking. That's very important. I'm giving a formula. For example, please consider DIVA: differentiation, innovation, and value addition. These are the three sutras or mantras. That is differentiation, D, I stands for innovation, and V stands for value addition. The fourth one is continuous learning. Okay, some speakers have talked about that, so I'm just moving ahead. The fifth one is a competitive spirit. Your competitive spirit should always be there in your mind, and all activities must be directed that, yes, I need to beat the competition. I'm slightly going fast. The next point is thinking and observing beyond pharma. Okay, don't restrain yourself from observing only what's happening in the pharma, what's happening, for example, in automobiles, what's happening in FMCG, what's happening in IT. Okay, so we need to have an open mind to understand the phenomena or the adaptation of various practices, whether it is marketing, technology, etc. The next is ability to work under pressure. Don't think of a 9 to 5 job. I think you need to consider maybe 24/7 if I'm not exaggerating. But okay, please don't consider it that, okay, I'll go at 9 o'clock and come back home and then spend my evening with some friends and for a drink or things like that. You need to be passionate about your job. Okay, so ability to work under pressure. The next very important point I would like to focus is leading by example. If you're creating a detailing for your brand, you must be the first professional to go in the doctor's chamber along with your sales managers or along with your first line managers, and then practice, show that demonstration of that effectiveness of that detailing in the doctor's chamber. And that will be a very big example that you are setting before the sales team, that yes, there is a lot of merit in my detailing story. So leading by example is very, very important. Next point is focus. Focus on your product, focus on your brand. Don't lose that focus. The next one is emphasis on execution success. The strategy that what you create, it is said that is, more important is the success, ensuring the success in the execution of that strategy. So ensure that the strategy what you create can be executed successfully and you take ownership for that execution. The next is a basic quality, which I think is the basic English language. Please have a very good command. Okay, the next one is understand the pharma value chain. Think yourself as a part of the entire value chain, right from procurement up to maybe customer satisfaction. Next is always develop some customer friends, some customer doctors or customer retailers. You can pick up a call and ask Dr. say Professor Vivek or maybe Dr. ABC, Dr. XYZ, and get yourself always in connection with these customers, what's happening around for your brand and for the competitive brands. The next one is please consider this as an advertising. So also try to have some principles of advertising being learned by you. For example, copywriting, the layouts, and all the areas which are connected with advertising. Then next point is always have a connect with the marketplace. Okay, try to sit minimum in the office, maximum in the marketplace. So don't lose that connect anytime. You need to have that connect and For example, some Hindustan Unilever, there was a CEO who actually grew up the ranks. And even as a CEO, his name was Mr. Paranspe. He's still associated with Hindustan Unilever. And even at the level of CEO, he used to visit the roadside kirana shops along with the sales representative and try to understand what's happening at the grassroots level. And that is what is expected, which will give you that insights into the strategy, the future strategies, as well as the problems and challenges for your brand. The next one is, please make a note that there is no shortcut. Okay. Focus on prescriptions. Okay. Prescription is only going to give me success, not the sales promotions. Okay. Not the pushing of the stocks. It's a shortcut. Don't believe in shortcuts. Lambi race ka ghoda ban jao. Okay. And that's going to give me a big success. Okay. Next point I always emphasize is there is no theory or no textbooks. Why? Because what is written in the theory comes from practice. So there's nothing called as theory. Okay. Everything is very practical. The next point, my second last point, is be a multi-knowledge professional. Today, you can't remain in your own confined function. For example, if you're a marketing function, you must be a finance expert, you must be an HR expert, you must be a logistics expert, you must be, of course, a sales expert, you must be a strategic management expert, you must know what is happening on the legal front, the regulatory front, the pharmacology, as well as medicines. Okay, so be a multi-knowledge professional. The second last point is always believe that there are two types of customers. One are the external customers and one are the internal customers. External customers are plenty, but also very equally important are your internal customers. You have two extremes. You have the sales people and you also have the top management, your internal customers. But how do you market is not the same before each one of them. So you need to have a differential marketing strategy before all the external customers as well as the internal customers, and within that there are sub classifications for which you need to have a differentiated strategy. So these are my or some of the, I would say, skill sets which are required maybe for various kinds of professionals, which I thought I should actually share with you, basically learnings from my experience. So I'm open for any questions. I hope, Dr. Swati, I've been able to respect the time.
Yes, Dr. Sunil, you have been, and you have actually taken us to a wonderful journey, I must say. The skill sets flowed like this is how you have to grow. And we all learned about how we can gain these strategies, what actually needs to be done today in this VUCA environment that has created after COVID-19. So thank you, Dr. Suniel Deshpande, for a wonderful, wonderful session.
Pleasure. If any questions?
No questions, Dr. Sunil. Everyone was listening and they are complimenting on this session. Some additions to what you said. Divya said, working at grassroots level gives you more insights. Vivek sir said, a difficult proposition for many, especially for experienced persons. So working at grassroots level. So please elaborate over this, Dr. Sunil, because many students want to sit in the office and do the work. The grassroots level doesn't even strike them.
Yeah. I think Professor Vivek wants to...
Right. Vivek sir, kindly unmute yourself. Vivek sir, kindly unmute.
Many of the brand managers today, which I've seen, they are Excel sheet brand managers than real-time brand managers. That's a very sad experience. I mean, a very sad thing which I've seen in the pharmaceutical industry today. My humble request to all the students, don't become Excel sheet brand managers and listen to what Dr. Deshpande said, Dr. Ray Chaudhary said, Dr. Shibu Jahan has said, and Dr. Ravi Chandran has said. Lot of lessons for all of you.
Yeah, very valid point, Professor Vivek and Dr. Swati. I just want to emphasize on one belief system of mine, which I said, that there is no theory or there is no textbook. We usually bifurcate that, yes, this is mentioned in the book. But my question is, where did it come in the book? It was experienced by somebody, and that's why it is written. For example, you take Professor Vivek, who has written 6 books so far. And where did it come from? It came basically from his experience. So similarly, when we talk about grassroots level, for example, what is the origin of strategy? Now, there is always 2 origins. One is what is actually happening in the marketplace. We need to capture that. When we are, for example, when I was a product manager or in the marketing, and we used to work across India, every doctor call was registered or captured with respect to my product, my brand, the competitive brands, and various aspects about the brand. And then it was actually created into a minutes of that particular tour. And then it was compared with respect to the strategy that what we had previously, and then what can come out of this discussion of this tour. So at the grassroots level, it is very important for you, because every doctor, every customer can give you some valuable insights into your brand, as well as your strategy of the brand, as well as that of the competitor brand also. So that's why capturing that becomes very important. And marketing people or marketing professionals also need to have a very good insight with respect to the second aspect. One is the grassroots level, and the second aspect is the conceptual ability. So what is strategy? Strategy is a combination of what is happening in the marketplace at the grassroots level and your own conceptual ability. How can you mold that? And that is the reason why grassroots level working is very, very important. I hope I have been able to respond as per the satisfaction of this.
Right, Dr. Sunil. Many students fear also, and they fear that going to grassroots levels would make them vulnerable. It is a time waste also. And many fears would be there. But after listening to you, I must emphasize on this point that actually going to grassroots levels saves a lot of time, gives you a lot of insights. It's a long-term strategy, and you have to be vulnerable. Become vulnerable to situations, and you will learn to handle situations. Then you will become an expert of that particular situation. So this was a wonderful session, Dr. Sunil. Good, extensive, really insightful, energetic thought process, which will definitely help us going ahead. Nayan has commented. Thank you, Dr. Sunil, for this particular talk.